When we last left off, Sam was finally learning what it meant to be a Nova, to protect the heroes that were picked on like he was. But now the question is, what happened to the rest of the Novas? Welcome to the Complete Story Series, where I take trade paperbacks and single issues and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then I read it dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Now the problem is that when Sam returned home at the end of our last volume, he went blind. An optical migraine? Oh my god, I'm dying! On his return, he started to see lights and then he lost his vision. But clearly nothing serious happened. The doctor asks if anything could have happened to start this, like getting hit in his head a lot. And Sam really can't think of anything that could have caused this. Not all of those blows to the head that he's taken ever since he put on the bucket head. Sam goes back to school where he runs into Moffat teasing him and Carrie cracking jokes about vanishing like his dad did. And as usual, he hates school, but he figures something else out in class. The lights he keeps seeing aren't an optical migraine, it's a map. He's not gonna die, the doctor was right! So that night, he begins his journey to track down the lights that he sees, only to be disheartened to discover that it leads to dead Novas as he finds one helmet in a space spider's den, and then another one being kept as a trophy with a man named Catavan. Before we can retrieve the helmet from Catavan though, the man teleports him outside of the ship, and that's when Sam gets a signal, a distress call! So Nova is on his way. When Sam reaches the source of the signal, he sees that it's a giant Nova ship and it's under attack. He begins destroying the weapons that are firing on the Nova ship, and as they launch a missile at him, Sam turns it around back on them. The person on the Nova ship then calls out that they are still in trouble. Their propulsion systems are still offline. But Sam has an idea. He flies behind the Nova ship and he blasts off with his own thrust. After getting away, Sam finally gets on board the ship and is greeted by Skarn, captain of the ship. Sam has a few questions, like why you're not a Nova and you're on the Nova ship. Skarn tells him that he salvaged this ship but was wondering if he could help them and hopes Sam is not easily upset. Sam tells him that this isn't his first rodeo, nothing is going to shock him. But as they open up the door, Skarn tells them that their battery is dead. Oh my freaking god! Sam yells out. Skarn has been using the force of a dead Nova to power the ship, but because he's well dead, they've been losing power. Skarn wants to know if Sam can power the core enough to get the ship back up and running. At first, Sam doesn't want to, but that's when Skarn tells Jin and the engineer to come in. The engineer isn't sure if it would even work, but she tells him that everyone on the ship really needs his help. Yeah, in that case, I'll give it a try, Sam says. Sam begins charging up the core and it appears to be working. He can't stop thinking about how he's the best Nova ever. Skarn thanks him one last time and tells Sam that he will remember. But as Sam flies off, Skarn tells the engineer to turn off that distress call. Sam then returns home thinking about how today was the best day ever! But back on the ship, Skarn can't wait to get these slaves to market. Nova just saved a slaver ship. Back over on the command ship of the aliens that Sam stopped, a horse-faced looking alien is waiting to go find him. The next day at school, Moffat once again tries to fight with Sam. The big bully just won't let up, but Sam decides to grab sand and throw it in Moffat's face. But then someone else shouts out, "Enough!" And standing there is Beta Ray Bill. When Moffat sees him, he yells, "Monster!" and he runs off, running into a pole, knocking himself out. And Bill calls out to Moffat, telling him to rise, thinking that he's a Nova. Sam then runs over to Moffat, telling Bill to stay back. Moffat is already dumb as a rock, he doesn't need any more injuries. Bill tells him, "I didn't even lift a finger. Are you his squire?" Sam grabs his helmet, telling him that I'm nobody's squire, and he cracks Bill across the face with the helmet. Sam begins to fight with Bill, but as the two of them fight, Bill begins to call down the power of the Stormbreaker, knocking everything in its path over. An electric pole then begins to fall, so Sam grabs it and smacks Bill with it. "Get off my planet!" Sam shouts, but Bill begins to stand back up, asking if that's the best he's got. Suddenly, a giant bolt of lightning comes down, striking Sam. And then Sam gets up thinking getting struck by lightning smells like ozone, and it hits like a freight train. Bill then puts his hammer down on Sam, asking him why he would help Skarn and where did Skarn go. Sam tries to move the hammer, but he can't, and Bill tells him to answer the questions. Bill goes on to ask him, "Are you corrupt or just careless?" And Sam begins to think, Thor's hammer is like Mjolnir, Thor's hammer. Knowing he can't move it, Sam begins to shift the ground underneath him, and then Bill begins to tell him there's no way that you could move. Sam rushes in with an uppercut, sending Bill through a sign, and then Sam flies over to him, taking off his helmet. "What did you say about Skarn?" Bill calls back to Stormbreaker, and he tells Sam that yes, he saw Bill's people attack Skarn, but what Sam didn't see before that is Skarn was enslaving his people. Sam throws his helmet onto the ground and he tries to kick it and misses. "So, you're friends with Thor, huh? How did you guess?" Bill tells him that he must go. He needs to find and stop Skarn, but Sam insists that he's going to come and help. He needs to help. But Sam has one thing to do before they leave. After being smacked by Carrie, Sam asks if she can help out by watching his little sister. And on his way back home, Sam skates by Moffat talking to some cops about what happened earlier. Moffat tries to get Sam to explain it, but Sam explains it as Moffat probably had sunstroke or something, but he needs to go. Back at his house, Sam tries to explain to his mom that he needs to leave the planet, and she tells him that he needs to stay. Sam tells her that he got a babysitter. Just then, Carrie rings the doorbell. Outside, Sam tells his mom that he screwed up, but she's more worried that he's going back at this alone. Sam thinks, oh, in that case, and he brings out Beta Ray Bill. And Sam's mom screams. With that, Sam and Bill leave to go find where Skarn went. Sam can't pick up on the helmet that was in Skarn's ship because it's too damaged. So Bill tells them that they'll have to use other means of finding him, which Sam suggests is following the trail of destruction as they look over at a giant explosion. Sam and Bill help some of the aliens that Skarn shot at, and as they leave, Bill asks where Skarn could have gone, and Sam tells them something about nowhere. As they reach nowhere, Sam insists that it looks like a giant head, and Bill tells him that it was a Celestial who was murdered long ago but is now home to many people. People live inside that giant head? Bill is gonna go scout ahead since Skarn doesn't know what Bill looks like, so Sam decides that he's going to stay outside and watch for Skarn's ship. Inside a bar, Skarn is sitting with another alien trying to trade his slaves for a giant Warbringer machine. But the alien doesn't want slaves, so Skarn tells him that he hasn't seen his final offer, blasting the man in the chest, and he takes the Warbringer device. Bill sees this going on and he calls Skarn out. Skarn brings up the Warbringer device and he begins to turn it on, but just as Bill is getting closer, Skarn tells him any closer and he will kill all of Bill's people on his ship. Outside, Sam tries to talk to the giant robot, but it ends up punching him, twice. The Warbringer then grabs Sam and begins crushing him, and Sam sees that his life flashing before his eyes. But Sam decided that the life that flashed before his eyes was too short, and he releases all of his energy blowing off the Warbringer's arm. He then thinks to himself, if he can charge Skarn's ship, what else can he charge? He grabs the Warbringer's cables and he wraps them around the giant's head, and then he charges them up, forcing the giant's head to explode. As everything begins to clear, Sam just wishes that Bill was here to see how cool that was. But just as he says that, Bill flies up calling him out. Bill tells him that Skarn wants to teleport the both of them to the other side of the galaxy, or he will kill the rest of Bill's people. Sam tells him that it is an idea, but he might not like it. So Sam and Bill enter, and Skarn tells them that they are not to pursue him, or he will find someone close to Sam as well. So Skarn begins to activate the Continuum Cortex, and it teleports Sam and Bill away. But what Skarn doesn't see is Sam is actually behind a pillar projecting his image. As Skarn begins to walk away, Sam overhears him saying something about an armory, and then he runs over to the controls to try and bring Bill back. But that's when he hears a voice telling him that the teleporter is only one way. Sam thinks that he's under some kind of psychic attack, but the voice tells him to be quiet. And then he tells him that he needs his help, so follow the voice. Sam follows it across nowhere, and then he opens a door to find a dog. The dog tells him that his name is Cosmo, and Skarn used a powerful poison on him. And Sam starts to pet him. Sam takes Cosmo to the doctors aboard and tells him that I know this will sound crazy, but this dog just told me that he was poisoned and needs help. Sam then uses his powers to help the doctor locate the poison and extract it. Cosmo tells Sam that he should leave, but Sam wants to know what Skarn wants, and Cosmo tells him it's probably the Continuum Cortex transfer. Over at the teleporter, Skarn tells his plans to another evil villain, that he wants to use the teleporter to go into a vault that only opens every few years. So the mercenaries that he's leaving behind to guard the teleporter will have to wait 8 hours after Skarn leaves. After Skarn goes to the teleporter and leaves, Sam comes running in asking where Skarn is, and also, who are you guys? One of the men tells him to take off that costume, he's too old to play dress up, so Sam blasts him with a laser. As their fight begins, Sam flies one of them into the next room, and they both discover that the next room is all gross. They both say it verbally, gross and disgusting, and they have a laugh about it. And then they remember that they were kind of fighting, and Sam knocks him out. Then the other mercenary starts to close in, and he begins to short-circuit Sam's perception of reality. Sam tries to fire a laser, but it doesn't go off in a straight line. And then the two remaining mercenaries begin to kick Sam, but he still has a brief understanding of what's happening. So he grabs both their legs, and in a flash of light, he fuses their armor together. He then punches them out, but wonders where the one that shot the laser went. Just then, that one comes back in and knocks Sam into another room. Just before he can kill Sam though, Cosmo freezes that mercenary. Sam looks back and asks Cosmo if the teleporter is only one way, and Cosmo sadly tells him yes. So Sam flies, grabs all three of them and throws them into the teleporter, sending them off. Meanwhile, in Jotunheim, Bill grabs his helmet after defeating a frost giant. Then Bill looks back to see 3 more people appear from the teleporter. Who are? How did? Oh, Sam. Back at the teleporter, Sam asks Cosmo if he can do anything else to help him. So Cosmo sends Sam back to school just before he's going to be late for class. Sam zips around the school, landing on the school roof just in time to not get caught, and he runs back into his class just as the principal shows up. And then with that crisis averted, Sam goes all the way back to nowhere just as Bill is arriving so that they can both go chase after Skarn. Sam is wondering why Skarn wants to rob some vault, but Bill tells him it's not a vault, it's where the secret weapons are kept. And as they prepare to teleport into the vault, it would appear that they are too late, because Skarn has arrived. Bill tries to tell Skarn that he can't possibly wield those weapons, and Sam asks which, the crazy gun or the crazy spear. Bill then tells Sam to engage Skarn while he opens up the portal. You mean, alone? Skarn begins laughing at them, and he tells Sam that he doesn't have what it takes to crack. Sam punches him across the face. Skarn then tells Bill that he hasn't found a buyer for the slaves, so it's time that he cuts his losses, and he fires a blast right into the ship. Sam tells Bill that he'll handle Skarn while Bill goes to rescue those people. Sam begins to fight off Skarn, but he isn't getting anywhere. Just as Sam gets away, Skarn tells him how Earth might be a good shooting range for his new weapon. Sam stops and flies right into Skarn, flying through asteroids until finally landing on a moon. He then begins to punch him over and over, telling Skarn to never come to Earth. Sam steps back looking at his handiwork. Oh god, did I kill him? Skarn tells him to just finish him, but that's not Sam's style. But he will get rid of the weapons before they can hurt anyone else. He lifts up the spear and the gun and he throws him into the nearby sun. Sam then takes Skarn back to Bill and they high five for a job well done. Where's the weapon that Skarn stole? Bill asks. Oh, don't worry, I got rid of it. I threw it into one of those stars back there. Bill starts laughing. Ha 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 ha. No, seriously, where's the weapons? And when Sam doesn't respond, Odin's blood, are you serious? Bill tells him that he's gonna go look for the weapons, but Sam has an idea what to do with Skarn. He brings it back over to Catavan's ship and he sits with Catavan with an offer. He knows that Catavan is actually a bounty hunter and Skarn has a rather high bounty, so he wants to give him Skarn for the helmet. Catavan slams his fist down, telling him that he won that helmet fair and square and he's not giving it to Sam. But that's when his wife comes in to begin yelling at him. She worked so long on that food that he just knocked on the floor, so just give the boy the helmet. Sam tries to speak up that he's not a boy, but he gets told to be quiet rather quickly. She goes on to tell him to just give him the helmet because he's just draining the bank at this point, and she storms off. Catavan whispers for Sam to bring the prisoner on board and take the helmet and leave before his wife gets mad. And Sam asks, she's not angry already? Sam heads back over to nowhere where Bill returns with the weapon. Bill rescued his people and one of his people wants her cut of Skarn's bounty. What did you get for him? I got this helmet. Crack, she punches Sam and walks off, telling him that he's made an enemy today. Bill tries to cheer up Sam as they head back home, but there's something that Sam needs to do first. He wanted to give the dead Nova on the Nova ship a proper burial. After Sam finishes, it made him think of how he wants to focus on finding his dad. Sam and Bill say their goodbyes and Sam finally returns home. But when he gets home, there's a note on his door. It's an eviction notice. Sam's journey to find his dad and learn what it means to be a superhero will continue next week. But if you want to read this yourself, go check out Volume 4 to continue the story as you see fit. I'm Benny the Comicstorian, and if you want to chat with me, follow me on Twitter at Comicstorian or follow me on Instagram at Comicstorian. And don't forget, we have a gaming channel where you can find gaming comic books every week. Eligible Monster Gaming, check it out.